What up, YouTube? It's your boy, the author. Back at that ass again. Here's another one. I was thinking about this at the gym, man. I just thought I'd break you off with a little something. This video, it was going through my mind, the actual concept, man. And it's about the immaturity of the black woman. Now don't get me wrong, this is not, blaming every black woman out there or all black women, but the majority of black women out here, especially the 18 to 25. But I mean, all across the board, it's a high level of immaturity. And I was thinking about this when I saw this video. I think I was on MGTOW, this site called MGTOW, man. I think this guy from Australia showed this clip of the Steve Harvey show, and these two black females, they were twins. And they were dressed in red. They had the blonde weave in and all that, so they felt like, they were smelling themselves. And he put them on this fake date with these two brothers, man. And they had the brothers' faces made up in a way where the brothers wouldn't look overly, attractive or anything like that. They just looked like plain regular guys, And so they sat on a date. It was two brothers that were on a date, and Steve Harvey put them on a date. And then the black females were sitting there on a date, man, and you just the way they were holding, the way they held themselves, the way they carried themselves was real tacky, man. They were asking the brothers like they was disrespecting the brothers from day one. Like as soon as they looked at them, they was like, made this face like they were all that because they had the blonde weave and wig in there. And the brothers wasn't shit, but they were the same color as the brothers, like same complexion now. So you can tell a lot of these black women hate themselves, because that's what causes a lot of that internal, that why they lash out like that. Come to think, if I think that the guys, I'm wondering if the guys were white guys who were on a date, would they have acted the same way? But to make a long story short, they sat down and the one twin asked asked the other guy, how much does he make? And my brother was like, well, why should that matter? And then she was like, I was just playing, which she wasn't. And then she was like, you know what? I got two friends who would love to go out with you guys, trying to disrespect these brothers in their face, make it, pretty much overtly put out there that they weren't interested and that they weren't attracted. The brothers tried to ask them questions. They were real standoffish. Brothers like, well, what do you like? She's like, really awesome and amazing guys. And trying to act like, pretty much they were trying to act like white girls or stereotypical white girls. What they think white girls act like they were better than these guys. Very rude, very very uncaring, very cruel. And and then once after the date was over, Steve Harvey pretty much told them like, hey, look, this is not how you're supposed to act on a date. And they looked like, to me, they could have been anywhere between their mid-20s. You know what I'm saying? They were too old to be acting like that. And Steve said, yeah, now Steve told the twins when they got off of the date back onto the show, he said, hey, man, well, look, these brothers that I had you sit down with, you don't know who you were talking to. These brothers are, and one of the brothers, because she asked him when they were on a date, she said she liked football players. And one of the brothers used to play football. And then they showed the brothers without the makeup on. And then the brothers came out there and they had on these nice suits and stuff like that. And then she was like, they was like, oh, Steve Harvey said, I like those shoes you got on, bro. Because they brought the brothers out dressed up with the makeup off. He was like, I like those shoes you got on, bro. He was like, you shop the same place I shop. So she's like, you disrespected these brothers because they weren't dressed up, and they didn't look all fancy and rich. But, these brothers actually do have money. And then they looked all stupid once the guys came out. And and here's the thing, man. The behavior they displayed is like the typical behavior of a lot of these black chicks out here, man. If you're not interested, that's one thing, but at the same time, it's a certain way you act, a certain way you carry yourself. And you act like you just out for somebody's money, then that makes you a whore. You know what I'm saying? There's one thing to be want to be taken care of, but if you want inequality across the board, then that means you should have your own money. That means that women should be doing the same jobs that men do in terms of working in coal mines, on the front lines of the military. Because I see a lot of women talking about equality, but I'm not seeing a lot of women going for some of the same jobs as these men. They're in the workforce, but they're in desk jobs. I don't see them as construction workers. I don't see them working in coal mines. I don't see them doing the real difficult jobs that brothers are doing. And they say, well, that's man's work. Well, no, it's no such thing as man's work because you said you wanted equality, right? But that's kind of I'm kind of going around the board on this. But my point is, the immaturity that those black women displayed, man, well, it was disgusting, bro. And that's how a lot of these chicks act on dates. And then they wonder why brothers go outside of their race or want to, date an Asian woman or Arab woman or a white woman or any other type of woman he could date. So he doesn't have to put up with that because if, even a brother even if I was a brother who did have money and did play ball or was a rapper, a famous rap star, which I'm not, I wouldn't want to put up with that. And even if I did, it'll just be long enough to boink, and then I'm out. Because you don't want to live with anybody like that. Those are monsters, man. You know. And the same thing is too. I mean, it's just like with that situation that I saw on TV not too long ago about they had the pimp's ball, and this one female was walking, a black female was walking around there like she was all hot, and she got into it with this other female, and as soon as she was all looking like she was all pretty, and as soon as that female snatched her wig off or her weave out, she had a big ass bald spot in the middle. She had to try to hide and duck her head, and her friend threw the jacket over her head. You know what I'm saying? Like that's how y'all feel without the weave. Like she couldn't even keep fighting. As soon as that girl, they got into a fight, a scuffle. As soon as that girl snatched the wig off her head, she went and ducked, and the friend knew where she was coming from. The friend threw the jacket on her head, and they had taped this incident. I think it happened in some type of party, or they called the party the players' ball or something, and they put the woman on TV and they interviewed her, and she explained what happened. Yeah, because without the weaves and some of these wigs, man, these females was bald as an onion. She had a big ass bald spot. I'm like, man, all you gotta do is just take out y'all. That's what I'm saying. All across the board, our women have some of the lowest self-esteem out there, man. Because when you taking other females' hair and putting it to your head, that weave, that's what that character, man, that character what's his name, Leatherface in the horror movies. That's what he does, man. He cut people's face off, and I don't know if any of you seen Texas Chainsaw Massacre, the old ones, and then the remakes. He cuts this victim's face off, but a lot of times when he cuts the face off, their hair is attached to the skin. So a lot of times when he's wearing a face, he's wearing some of their hair too, and he tapes it to his head. That's what these black females are doing, man. And it's not like where they say, well, white women wear weave too. Yeah, but you make it $1 billion industry, and you can't go anywhere without it. And as soon as somebody snatch it off, you either want to, if a dude do it, you want to kick him in his balls, or you got to duck and hide your head. Like it's that easy to take away your quote unquote self confidence. So that means you don't have any, man. And that's what I'm saying. They getting real close to, if they don't watch it, then they're gonna be, cutting off the faces of these other races, because if you want to be white, it starts with the hair. I'm pretty sure. I mean, Leatherface is a fictitious character, but those characters don't start out that sick. They go through cycles, bro. You start out taking women's hair and stapling it to your head or gluing it to your head sooner or later, and then you got the eyelashes and you putting them on your eyes. Sooner or later, you might start cutting the face, and black women, and a lot of these black women are turning into Leatherface, man. Female Leatherfaces, man. They dress up every day for Halloween. You got a weave. That's your costume. You dressing up every day for Halloween. You know what I'm saying? It's like, come on, that's pretty sick, man. And how can you act like you self confident? You throwing it around, and it ain't, and you know it ain't yours. You throwing it, and it ain't even your shit. Like, and how can you act like you better than me, and we the same skin complexion, and they quick to call you black and all that. And you throwing it around, and it ain't even your shit. A lot of times it ain't even washed. It ain't even cared for. Those people overseas stuff that shit in those little packets and they ship it over here. A lot of times they women don't even wash their hair out like that, man. That hair be coming from India and all type of places, man. They don't even wash that shit. They just stuff that shit a lot of times in there and just send it. And females just put that's and then keep the weave in there for sometimes months, man. That's disgusting, man. I think a wig is bad too, but a weave, bro, that's I don't know. It's a toss up, man. But our women, come on, man. You can't act like you better than nobody if you can't walk out the house without a wig or a weave. You shouldn't. It should be against the law for you to pretend that you have self esteem because you don't. But that's what I'm saying. Immaturity. That's immaturity. When you go out on these dates and you act like you better than these brothers and you got fake hair, you got fake eyelashes, you broke. And you want him to have some money. What you want somebody else to have money for because you broke? Because if you came from wealth, then you have arranged dating anyway. So you already know the person you was sitting in front of had money. You broke. So you want him to have money so you can suck up all his resources and have him in the same state as you. Because I do sales, man, and most of these females got worse credit than these brothers. A lot of these females don't got zero, no credit. Some of them don't even got a debit or credit card. I hear they average worth is black females' average worth is like about $5. A lot of them don't even have a debit card. They got the worst. Black females have the worst credit, I think, in the country, man. I mean, brothers aren't the best, but a lot of them, even if a brother can't get, if he don't get approved at a high level, sometimes he will get approved, and then he'll admit, I already know I got messed up credit. Some of them, you'll process their information. Well, why didn't I get approved? It's like, bitch, you knew you had messed up credit, but when you first called, you know what I'm saying? There's more of that game. You knew your credit was busted. You don't pay nobody. Like, man, that shit is crazy, man. But I was just thinking that immaturity is what causes the breakdown. Is one primary factor that causes the breakdown in the black community. And a lot of these young boys who are being raised without a father figure in the home, not just without a father figure, but being raised without a father figure, being raised without a grandfather in the house or an uncle, where it's just all women. A lot of these guys who are coming out, and some are coming out with a little sugar in their tank or homosexual. They're creating. I think the single parent homes are creating these brothers, and they're giving the sons the same attitude that they have. That's why a lot of these boys want to walk around with, expensive shoes and stuff like that, trying to look the role, trying to look the part, rather than actually, saving and actually having something, tangible, so you can build up your resources, so you can become productive and, actually help build the community. But yeah, man, I mean, it's just the low self-esteem, man. With a lot of black females is helping break down the family. It's helping break down the community. And it's real low. And then the fact that you can't admit that your self-esteem is very low is even worse, because now it's like it's almost like it's non-existent. But and that's another thing to add to my previous video when I talked about, why aren't a lot of black females married? And it's not so much a situation where, like I was saying before, I don't think it's a situation where they're choosing not to get married. I think it's a situation where, they can't. And I think the self-esteem issue is a big part of that. And that lack of maturity that they have a lot of immaturity, man. The way they try to treat, the way they act on some of these jobs, the way they try to treat other black men in particular, the way they act loud and retarded, and they always want to be seen for the most part. Um, and that's what makes brothers not want to, propose. And like I was saying before in my previous video, no one's really gonna marry you, especially outside of another race when they're like a Spanish person or a Puerto Rican person or a person from Spain. Imagine, the black female trying to step to a guy who's upper middle class from Spain, and she's a typical black female with the hair, with the fake hair and the weave, and with a lot of attitude and very high expectations and you know having that attitude of where they expect to be treated in a certain way, even if they conduct themselves without class. That type of attitude and looking at say this white guy from Spain, looking at all he's measuring who he's dating with all the other women in his household. So he's comparing you to his aunts, his nieces, his mother, his sister, and most of these women from other races, which pretty much conform to the standard of beauty. They're the women with the natural, long hair and things of that nature. Their attitude tends to be a little bit more mature. They tend to have higher level of self-esteem because they didn't have to go through being the lower class. So the higher in class you are, the more money, the more resources, usually the higher your self-esteem. Where the smaller, itty bitty things don't matter. That's why you get the average two black chicks. If they look at each other wrong, it's a fight like that. Shit like that don't matter when you have real things going on. When you have real, tangible, you have real resources and wealth and power and shit like that. But a dude that never really grew up in the inner city having to now face that type of, hostility and anger from a black woman. You a white dude from Spain. I don't know how you gonna last. So like I'm saying, I mean, and some of these black women who are stepping outside, some of them are finding other races to marry, but they're finding the throwaways of the white race or the throwaways of these other races, the white men that white women don't really want, for the most part, the guys who are poor, and a lot of times too, if they do go to another race, it's funny because they were looking for that rich guy. They look for the black dude to be rich and cool, but usually when they end up with the white dude, he's just an average white dude, lower, even less than average actually, with less money. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, it's like some of these females out here, I see them. You got with a you said, oh okay, well I got with a white dude. He ain't beating me down no more. With that dude, that lame that you say you wouldn't give the time of day, he wouldn't have hit you either. But he wasn't cool enough for you. You know what I'm saying? But the white dude, he can be himself though. So I mean, it's just a lot of BS. But yeah, that immaturity, man. Thinking being as a black female, you should automatically be treated as a queen. Why? You ain't really done shit. You ain't let no movements. You ain't, at least not in the past since the 90s. You can't count the 60s because y'all ain't, the females of today didn't have shit to do with that. And even the 60s, it was quite limited. But the brothers led that revolution. But a lot of them, I think a lot of the hostility too with black females, they're hurt because, they all chase the same dude, and that dude didn't really want them like that. So, they all chase the same dude, and the one dude, that dude of course had choices, so he probably ended up just banging him, and then he just left and went his own way. And they were mad because they couldn't get him, so now their heart is broke, and now they don't trust any black man. It's like, man, come on, man, get off that. You knew everybody was on that dude. You want to be with the one basketball player and everybody that was stroking everybody, or the one drug kingpin that was stroking everybody. Like, yo, what? He has options. What are you gonna stay with you for? You got weave, she got weave, and she got weave. What's gonna make him stay and get married? I told you before. marriage ain't really, men don't care much about marriage, just the females. So instead of you having realistic expectations and got rid of that entitlement, talking about you a queen, and the only queens on the planet is white females from what I see. Queen Elizabeth, they are not black. So, cut that shit out, man. You are from the inner city. Ain't nothing queenly about you. You was ghetto as a motherfucker. And then the thing is, too, I mean, some of the black females out there who are different. What the sad part about that is, like the what's my boy, like on my man who made the Boondocks, who Huey and all of them. If y'all remember that cartoon, remember the grandfather got with this girl called Ebony Brown. The Ebony Browns of the world, the black chicks who are like the Ebony Browns, they end up oftentimes, most of them aren't from the inner city. And they're usually upper class, upper middle class. The one Ebony Brown, Freeman was chasing her because he and she ended up like, she was like just excellent, man. She was beautiful, and it was a cartoon character, pretty much. But I mean, she was beautiful. She had a nice body. She was sweet. She was kind, and she used to do shit like on a worldwide level. Like I think they had this one episode when Freeman chased her, and he thought she was cheating on him, and she was up there helping feed the people. She was a part of the disaster relief committee, like handed out food to the people after the flood. And he was so into her, he didn't even realize that she was out there. And she had to break up with him because she was like, man, it ain't healthy, man. I don't want you to, you too into me like that. And like the Ebony Browns, like the real black women who are like that. That's why even in the cartoon, I think my man was trying to make a point. Freeman chased her because he knew that black women like her, because he was dating before, and he knew that black women like that were like less than 1% of the population. They were a very small group, and usually those black females like that who aren't 300 pounds and who don't have about 5 kids by 4 different dudes, and who don't have felonies, and who don't got tattoos everywhere, and who do have nice attitudes where she could even turn you down in a nice way if she's not interested, and she's just, you wouldn't even mind being her friend. Like it wouldn't be a type of thing where you would be trying to just be her friend so you can stroke. You wouldn't mind being her friend for real, because she can give you some good advice and shit like that. Not to say you wouldn't want to marry her, but that type of female, because most dudes don't want to be a female's friend. They just do that so they can stroke, of course. But I mean, that type of female that he had, the Ebony Brown, is so rare. And then a lot of times too, the real females who are close to being like an Ebony Brown type, they usually end up, those are the ones who get picked up by other races. So the white dudes, like I even saw in my college, like the white dudes who did pick a black girl. But like I said, in most cases, if white dudes, like most men date within their races. I think black men have the higher rate of going to other races. I think they do it at about 10%. 10% of the black males will step outside the race for obvious reasons. And it's kind of easier for us to do it than black females, because we don't come with all that baggage. Plus, a lot of these females from other races, their men keep them at high standards. We just want a female that can just shut the fuck up and let us watch TV and cook. We don't, you can do whatever after that. So, and then a lot of females who not really, who are open to dating us, they don't have to feel like all that pressure's on them to look beautiful and always be at a high level. I mean, yeah, we do want you to keep yourself up, but we know what our women look like. We got some of the heaviest women out there, so long as you don't be 300 pounds, we we pretty open. But yeah, those Ebony Brown types, man, that like most white men, if they don't stay within their race, they'll pick a Asian female. But the few who do actually pick black females end up picking the Ebony Browns. The ones who are really like that, like what Freeman was chasing. The beautiful ones with these sexy bodies, They got sweet faces, great attitudes. Those are the ones who they end up getting. And that's about 1% of all black females out here. You know what I'm saying? That's a female. More than likely, she had a father in her life the whole time. She probably was upper middle class. Most of her friends are probably white or Spanish or something like that. And for her, I would say, yeah, I wouldn't get with a black dude that have a whole lot of who has a whole lot of problems. You know what I'm saying? But that amount. I mean, you can look up Boondocks and Google Ebony Brown, but that percentage of black females is very small, man. Probably like about 2%. The ones who are actually respectful, smart, nice, caring. Don't have a fake hair, don't have fake eyelashes, don't have tats every motherfucking wear, and it ain't spaced out where they, pretty much, they're Christian, right? They're just, to take you to church and force you to believe what they want to believe. The ones that are just cool, laid back, and they really into helping people. That type of female, that's rare, man. Not to say that those, a lot of females, you don't have too many females like that in every race. I mean, the westernized woman is really really rude. You know what I'm saying? On a as a whole. You know what I'm saying? But, the lower the self-esteem, the worse it's going to be. And that's why I think the black female is kind of on the bottom of that totem pole. They even worse than what we have out here. And some of the brothers, some men in general are so busy praising women that they, you put her on that pedestal, then she will treat you, like you are beneath her. Even though we don't keep in mind that some of the females that have the pretty faces, they ain't shit. Some of them, they have fucked up credit. They losers when it comes to keeping relationships. They're distrustful. Just because she pretty don't mean, and sometimes during sex, they're not even that great. They'll just lay there. So, but yeah, the immaturity of the black female. I mean, Emily Brown, those types of females are also very mature. But like I said, it's almost like the Darwin scale, like where he said the elite of the earth. He said the white, and they had a chart, and as the person had more melanin in their skin, the lower they were on that Darwin scale, that class scale. And finances kind of work that way, and self-esteem kind of works that way as well. But it's gonna be up to the black women themselves to get their self-esteem together, man. Because they won't listen to the black men anymore, and a lot of black men don't even have a place in the home anymore. So, but I just thought I'd throw that out there to y'all, man. Make sure to be sure to like and subscribe. Let me know what you think about it, man. What do you think about the maturity of the black woman? Is the average black woman very immature? What have been your experiences on past dates in terms of women, or in particular black women, asking you inappropriate questions, or just in general? So let your boy know. And this is the author. I'm gonna cut this at this point. All right, and take care. And those who are offended, I'm glad by that. All right, take care.